business insights. So all these platforms, even the open source ones and the bigger ones, they just focus on IoT as a technology. Again, there is no real business use case, and I'm stressing on the fact that there is no real business use case, and that's the reason the adoptions are less. We are not going to sell something as an IoT. It's not a commodity product where I say, oh, this is an iPhone 8, it's going to cost me ₹1 lakh. Even though it has a snob value for me, it is just one unit. I can afford that. But for industries, when you're talking about millions of devices, you cannot afford investing into something which has snob value. It has to have real value. And because IoT has become a buzzword, people are just diving in head first. They're not thinking whether IoT is actually going to help them or not. And just because the management approves the budget of a POC or whatever it is, they just dive in head first, thinking about implementing IoT without getting the benefits. So we've spoken enough of problems. Let's figure out what is the road to success. So IoT has been defined by many people in many different ways, and it's been fascinating to hear different stories from different people about what IoT is. And what I thought about is, let's come up with something which is going to be really simple to understand. So if I talk about hydrologic model, it is going to be confusing, but this is a simple rainfall model where you see sensors producing data, and then there are two aspects: the real-time monitoring, that those are immediate needs and those getting money, and then the big data analytics, which are getting revenues maybe after 3-4 years down the line. But if you see on the top, the most important aspect is the domain expertise. The vertically you are trying to implement IoT solution has to be, you have to be an expert there. You cannot go with a technical expertise. It has to be a combination of technical as well as domain expertise to make IoT solutions successful. And that is where you put strategic and tactical hats on and figure out what are the different steps of evolution of an IoT product. So the first two, having a scope of the problem and the stakeholder roadmap, are common across all the projects, so we're not going to talk about these. What we are going to talk about is items which are specific to IoT. So we talk about hardware, which is the heart of the system. Without hardware, nothing is going to work. Communication, that is the respiratory system. Just trying to draw an analogy with the human body. Scalable cloud, that's the brain, which will make sure that the IoT system yields you results and good ROI. The support team, which are your eyes for remote monitoring, for ensuring everything is up there. And finally, the data sciences, which are the limbs. I didn't find a good word, so I just put limbs there, so it may not really suit the whole of the ecosystem of a human body. But if you see, when we talk about IoT, most of the people forget about the hardware and the support teams. People think that they will have hardware from someone else, they'll partner with someone, and support is something that comes last to your mind. And that's where majority of the projects or majority of the IoT projects go wrong. When you start with an IoT solution in your mind, it has to have all these aspects considered on day one. If you're not having that, you are surely going to fail. So let's talk about hardware now. When you talk about a robust hardware, you always think that the hardware has to be from a perspective of functional thing. So if you're talking about an industrial use case, you will have analog inputs, digital inputs, Modbus as an input. And if you're talking about an automotive use case, you will have a CAN bus, OBD connector, or something of that sort, or GPS. These are some specific. Something's gone wrong? I hope you're not counting these minutes in my presentation.